All right, that brings us to our bantamweight main event for UFC Vegas 113, and it goes down between Mario Bautista, who comes in at minus 190. He takes on Vinicius Oliveira, who comes in at plus 165. Starting off on the Mario Bautista side of things, he had an 8-fight winning streak going into his matchup against Umar Nurmagomedov, but it was his 6-fight winning streak that got him that high profile matchup against Jose Aldo and really turned the crowd against Bautista. That 6-fight winning streak he had going up against Aldo, had 3 finishes as well, showcased how vicious and violent he could really be, nasty striking, underrated submission game. His game was really coming together. It seemed like the guys over there at the MMA lab really honed in on Bautista and got him to achieve his potential. But against Aldo, he threatened with a bunch of takedowns, really corralled Aldo up against the cage and got a bunch of control time there. And it was just a really slow and, we'll say it, a boring fight. And that turned the crowd against him, but Bautista still managed to get his hand raised that night. Then he was put up against Patchy Mix, who was making his UFC debut, and we saw Bautista shut down Mix's game and outstrike him and get off on good damage there. That ultimately lined him up against Umar Nurmagomedov, which would probably have given Bautista a title shot had he gotten past Nurmagomedov, but we know how good Nurmagomedov is. He also may not be the most exciting fighter, but he was just better all around. Landed good strikes, landed good takedowns, good chain wrestling. Bautista did manage to land a big, heavy knee, I believe, in the second round of that fight, but Nurmagomedov got right back into the game and got back off on his damage. Bautista is an educated, solid fighter, but I think that loss against Nurmagomedov kind of took a bit of, not steam, but maybe a little bit of the pressure off of Bautista. He has that winning streak snapped now, but he's now in a position where he can remind fans that he's still a very violent and fun and entertaining fighter. He doesn't have to try to work towards a title shot as much anymore. I'm sure that's still a part of his plans, but I think he can be a little bit freer now that he doesn't have this crazy winning streak going into these fights. Violent striker, like I said, very educated, good fight IQ, good game planning, great training camp as well. He's definitely still one of the top bantamweights in the division. Now he's going up against a streaking Vinicius Oliveira, who's absolutely been killing it as of late. He has a 4-fight winning streak in the UFC ever since debuting after winning on the Contender Series. He had a crazy back and forth battle against Bernardo Sopai before he was able to get that 3rd round finish. Then he was able to style on Ricky Simon after shucking off all those takedowns. He was able to walk through Said Nurmagomedov, and then last time around had great success against Kyler Phillips. It's really his aggressive and violent, reckless style that makes him so dangerous. Has a ton of good experience. He was the former UAE Warriors champion before he ran into a well-rounded fighter like Ali Taleb. But Oliveira, he shows almost no respect to his opponents. He just walks them down, throws big shots, throws some flashy strikes. If he sees an opening to get the fight into the grappling realm, he'll take it. But often he's the one utilizing his grappling defensively to try to force opponents to strike with him. His gas tank is a bit of a question mark, but, especially with how his body language looks later on in fights and how low he keeps his hands. But just the aggression that he brings and the disdain of what his opponents are trying to attempt to do to him makes his opponents respect him. And that's why he's often able to just dictate the pace and continue bringing a forward pressure that not a lot of opponents can really keep up with. So that's what's made him so dangerous. That's what caused Kyler Phillips, Ricky Simon, and Said Nurmagomedov to slow down as much as they did and just allow Oliveira to dictate the pace there. But he leaves many openings that fighters who aren't intimidated by him can take advantage of. We saw Bernardo Sopai have success against him, nearly getting some finishing positions, but Oliveira's grit and toughness really pulled him through there. Here against Bautista, this is easiest the toughest opponent that Oliveira has ever gone up against. Bautista will not be threatened or intimidated by the violence that Oliveira brings because I think Bautista can match it. But also I think Bautista has the cardio edge. I think Bautista has the fight IQ edge. And I think his game planning will allow him to stay safe in most of these positions against Oliveira. Whether that's counter-striking the reckless approach of Oliveira or getting this into the clinch and grappling realm where he might have a little bit of trouble early. But I think we've seen him implement it effectively against dangerous fighters in the past and pass with flying colors. And I think he can do this similar thing here against Oliveira. So this could be tight for the first 2 rounds or so. But I think the experience and the fight IQ and the game planning of Bautista will allow him to contain and muzzle Oliveira and then allow Bautista to take advantage of the questionable gas tank of Oliveira, leading to Bautista finishing Oliveira in the 4th, maybe 5th round, maybe 3rd round as well. But I think we'll see Bautista have the perfect answer to the recklessness of Oliveira, leading to Bautista getting that, I'm going to call it round 4 TKO or submission. But I think Bautista showcases his veterancy here and his overall skill advantage to get the win. So give me Mario Bautista inside the distance.